A very good morning and welcome to day 3 of the Para-Dressage here at the World Equestrian Games on another glorious morning here in Tryon. Here in the Tryon Stadium, the venue for the Para-Dressage, which has seen 2 fabulous days of individual competition dominated by the team from the Netherlands who were in outstanding form. But this next 2 days will be equally as competitive, equally as intriguing as we look forward to who can win the team gold. Will it be Britain maintaining their unbeaten record in team competition in this para-dressage? We start with the grade 5 with Sophie Wells in just a few moments' time for the defending champions, Great Britain. And it is a glorious morning here, cloudless skies, sunny temperatures, but this will be the 6th lining up in the grade 5 team test, headed by the individual gold medalist Sophie Wells, who produced the best test of the week in terms of score across the 5 grades. And then she'll be followed by the bronze medalist Regine Mispelkamp, a stunning performance from her. Frank Hosmar, of course, the silver medalist, will be 4th up. Those are the 3 who obviously look as if they will be able to post significant scores, but you never know what could happen over the next hour or so. But from a British perspective, they certainly need Sophie Wells to get off to a flying start. As I say, the weather is set fair for this 3rd day in the Tryon Stadium, and the pleasant temperatures with barely, well, that 2 mile an hour means it's basically not a wind, but it's 70 degrees temperature currently. It will get warmer, and so, but for the early starters, I'm sure they're very happy that they are going nice and early. Crowd settling in then to enjoy this team competition, and I'm delighted to say she has been out riding nice and early. She was out early. She's probably gone to bed with her silver medal around her neck, but I'm delighted to say many congratulations to Natasha Baker, who has hot-footed. You were out riding at 8 o'clock. It must have been lovely at 8 o'clock.
It was so nice, although I love the heat, so yeah, it was a bit cold for me. I had to wear a jumper.
What?
I know.
Well, no, I suppose it was a chilly morning.
It was a chilly morning.
But now 70 degrees,
yeah.
So this looks intriguing. What was the mood in the team camp, GB? Because I think the pressure's on now. I mean, I'm not turning up the heat straight away, but this is going to be a hard one to defend.
Yeah, I think Sophie's going to throw down the gauntlet this morning and hopefully pull out a PB. That would be really good. Her aim is to get higher than she did the other day.
Well, there are members of your team. Who's there?
That's Erin's team. So that's Erin and her mum and her owner and her owner's mum, and then Stephen, her trainer, who is trying to catch a tan.
Clearly trying to catch a tan. But clearly also for Erin, I mean, that's for tomorrow. I know personally she was disappointed yesterday. She was
really upset, yeah.
And finishing 9th. But obviously, though, there is still a huge input she can have.
Definitely.
The interesting one, though, is later on we have the grade 2. Yeah. Lee Pearson. What's the news on his horse? Because obviously there was concern. He retired. What's the news? He's
feeling better now. He had a really good ride on her yesterday in the training arenas. He got his partner, who is also a rider, to have a little sit on her so he could watch, and he's feeling much better. Oh, George is having a little look at the sign there.
Well,
he fancies a Longines himself, I think, maybe.
How was your Are you wearing your Longines today?
I am not. I haven't collected it yet.
Well, well done.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you very much. Very happy girl right now.
Right, very happy. Well, now let's get serious now, because this is the start of the team competition. You are referring to George, aka Fatal Attraction, coming into the arena for Sophie Wells. She did score 75.429. It was an excellent test to win the gold medal in quite a convincing style, beating by over 2 points Frank Hosmar. So she, I think from a team perspective, has got to be looking at something in that region just to, as you say, throw down the gauntlet.
Yeah, definitely. I think she's going to be aiming for 75-76%, which will be a really fantastic start for our team.
And on the test, is it different for people who don't know from the one that Sophie rode on Tuesday?
Yes. Yeah, it is a different
Says he's
test.
trying to remember which day of the week it is.
I'm losing track too. Yes, it is a different test. It's actually slightly easier. So it used to be the test that we used to ride first. So we used to do our team test first and then our individual test second. But because of the format change, we now ride the individual test first, which is slightly more difficult, and then the team test, which is today.
Right, well, here we go then. The team competition is underway, and it is with the defending champions, the Great Britain team, headed by Sophie Wells, part of last year's European gold medal winning team. It was hard fought in Gothenburg. It's getting harder and harder for them to protect their unbeaten record in the team competition. But what they do need, with teammate Natasha Baker sitting alongside me, is a big start. And looking at the start, Natasha, is that what you wanted to see?
Definitely. You know, this horse just oozes presence, and he has such a lovely, fluent way of going. He should be picking up some really good marks. A lovely shoulder in, a great angle, and keeping nice and consistent into the half pass. Again, lovely positioning, really keeping the rhythm and the balance.
Well, some of the marks already coming in, 7.7s. There were very few 8s in the individual competition, but Sophie did score, I think, a couple of 8s.
Lovely square halt.
That was lovely.
She does put a test together so well, Sophie, and she rides every single step of this. She doesn't throw any marks away.
Well, Rainback just picked up 6.8, which is probably the worst part so far of her.
Yeah, he kind of shuffled back instead of really picked up.
But she's scoring well in the high 7s, everything else. So this is a good start for Sophie Wells, as I suppose predicted. And what you want to do is see an improvement through the week and come out with a storming start for the champions. The way the draws worked out, it can be a mood setter.
Definitely.
That's nice.
Lovely extension, really, really powering from behind. Great transitions into and out of, and normally that's a separate mark as well, so you have to make sure that you do show the clear transitions at the start and at the end.
7.9 for the half pass to the right.
Fiddling with her knitting to get her free walk. It's really difficult for Sophie because she does ride with the one finger.
She's had 8.1, and that's the highest mark I think I've seen posted all week across any of the classifications.
Fabulous. And what's the percentage score running
76 on? Now at the moment.
Good.
So you've got to be objective here, Natasha, but I suppose we'll forgive you. But
lovely clear walk rhythm, heading into her pirouette, keeping the activity, nice small pirouette, and maintaining the rhythm out.
Very calm, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then another one. Just lost a little bit of activity at the end of that one, but lovely transition into canter.
Looking around about 75.47, which is sort of round about the score she achieved on Tuesday.
She went for that extension.
Just come down a bit with the collected walk, scoring under 7.
Yeah. And then the simple changes. I think she has to show the canter on the half 20-meter circle and then do the simple change on the long side. So here we go. She's preparing. Lovely. Oh, one small step of trot there, just a little jog into it. It wasn't quite as direct as I've seen her do before.
She's had another 8. Can't remember for which one
that
it's
would
gone
have probably
for
been the canter.
Half circle 7.3. But it's looking good. It's a confident looking start from Sophie Wells and for the Great Britain team. Plenty of high 7s continuing to be scored by the 5 judges here.
Some more canter. You can just see his rhythm and his balance doesn't change. And then into simple change, better that time. Lovely transitions up.
3 scores count out of 4 in Britain's case.
Just dropped her a little bit in that transition from canter to trot. You could just see him wait before he really started pushing, but a lovely extension there across the diagonal. She's going to be really happy with this.
Trending at around about 76 at the moment, over 76. So this could be the kind of score that will 7.9 for the extended trot. There it is, just holding at the end.
Big smiles.
And I think Sophie can be very pleased with that. That is a terrific start from her and indeed for the Great Britain team as they try and defend their title. Just what they needed. We'll wait for the score in a moment, but some of those scores at the end, she was getting 8 for the halt at the end, 8.2. That is the best score so far on an individual part of a test. So Sophie Wells has shown that she's ready, and the team are ready to make sure they don't give away the gold medal. So a terrific start from Great Britain and Sophie Wells, and the score will no doubt be somewhere around about the 76, but that's what you need, because you know some of the other teams are going to be getting near that sort of mark as well.
Yeah, they're definitely snatching at our heels, and yeah, I think this is going to be a really, really close contest for the team. We've just got to hope that Styletta is feeling good today and that Lee can post another good percentage later on. Fingers crossed.
Well, he will be going at about 11:30 for Great Britain. The Grade 2 will start with Stina Kastrup, the gold medal, at 10:45. And here we go with the score, and it is a magnificent 77.140. And that is a terrific score as it comes up with that score of 77.140. There it is. You can see very consistent marks, E with a 78, but the others all around. So that's why pretty consistent scoring amongst the 5 judges, and 77.140.
Fabulous.
That's
very happy with that.
There you go, one happy team member. I think text away. Big congratulations. Just what the team needed, because obviously it's an accumulate. You count the totals, but a 77 means that you know that it will probably be well, many people getting to that mark or beyond across the 5 categories. 77 is right up there.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, it's something that we all strive for, and it's something that the Grade 1s normally deliver. It's quite rare for a Grade 5 to score quite that high, but yeah, Sophie is such an established partnership with George that they've done so well this year, and I know she was a little upset about her first centre line in her last test because of a couple of mistakes. He stepped back and then cantered off instead of trotted, so that obviously really brought her down at the beginning of her last test.
Well, I'll tell you what, in the Grade 5, and we had Angelica Trabert here commentating yesterday, and it was a real bonus to get a bronze medal with Regine Mispelkamp, who's coming into the arena, new to the team, but she produced a wonderful test on Look at Me Now. And we certainly did by the end. We took note.
Definitely. She
scored 71.452 in picking that bronze medal. And the Germans, it looks as if, with all due respect to some, a 4-team battle for medals on the evidence of what we've seen. Great Britain, the Netherlands, Denmark and Germany look to be the 4 main players. Denmark obviously with Stina at the forefront, but Germany definitely feel that they're in medal hunts, and Regine Mispelkamp can set the tone for the Germans as far as their quest for team medal here. And how she started, Natasha Baker from the Great Britain team alongside me here in our commentary position overlooking the Tryon Stadium arena.
Yeah, really, really nice start. The horse is not quite as expressive as George, but putting on a really nice start to their test. And into the half pass, good positioning. Could have a little bit more suppleness to the new inside bend, to the inside bend just then. And yeah, just showing a little bit of tension around that corner. Just leaving a hind leg out. Good rein back steps though.
And round about 7 she's scoring at the moment, looking at about 70%. Remember, she scored 71.452, so
bit of resistance in that circle. Could just see him fighting the contact a little bit, but really super shoulder in. Nice and clear in 3 tracks, and better half pass this way.
just around about 7. You can just see that it's not quite the same power from that we saw with Fatal Attraction compared to, although it's narrow margins, it's just not quite as.
Yeah, it's a different horse, and they haven't got quite as much expression, and I think what makes the picture between George and Sophie look so good is, he just doesn't change in the contact. He's just there, and he's very, very even on both reins. Whereas there is a little bit. This horse is definitely more supple to the right. And the horses are one-sided. They do find it easier one rein than the other. And when you're dealing with para riders, they're the same.
She owns this horse, this 13-year-old gelding. All around about the 7s, 7.5 for that extended walk. So Mark, so just creeping up a little bit, around about 71% looks to be where she's at the moment.
I also haven't mentioned the fact that this is now done to music, and so each team has had to put their team test to music. And it's not being judged, but it kind of acts as background music. But you can definitely use that to your advantage.
What have you got?
I've got Bridget Jones.
Okay, I don't know. Well, I know the film.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
There's some music in the background.
Okay. So now I know.
That's what I've got.
Right.
You'll hear it tomorrow.
What have you got for Saturday?
Saturday is an original piece done by Tom Hunt.
Ooh. Look forward to that. Didn't he do
Charlotte's? Yeah. Well, only the best. Some nice simple changes.
You refer to Charlotte Dujardin, of course, a individual bronze and team medalist from the dressage last week. And it's getting some decent scores all around about this. They're comfortably into the 7s and some high 7s as well. But looks like she's on course, as you say, a slightly easier test than the one on Tuesday. And so the score should reflect that. But still looking as if she will better her Tuesday score. But how much behind Sophie will she be? She was around about 4 percentage points behind.
Again, just a little jog into the simple change, but a lovely clear transition up into canter. Horse just dropped her a little bit in the contact before that transition. Really lovely extension. Just like to see that a little bit more uphill maybe for the higher marks. And that looks pretty straight.
So a good start for the bronze medalist for Germany. And they will be pleased with that start, Regine Mispelkamp. And that's a decent looking test. Plenty of good marks along the way there for the individual bronze medalist. And, well, people thought it was something of a, not saying a surprise, but it really was a great start for her at these championships. And now I think she has produced a solid start and proving that the German team will be very competitive and obviously looking at getting a medal this week. And it's going to be a hard-fought 10th competition right to the end tomorrow afternoon as to who will be lifting the respective medals. A big pat on the back for Look at Me Now as they come out of the arena. And looking up at the score, and with 77.233 is the confirmed score, that sort of provisional we heard before, but it's been rounded up to 77.233. That's a decent start from a British perspective.
Definitely.
And we're just now waiting on the Look at Me Now score, so where Germany come in with that score. With coming into the arena though next is Tomiko Nakamura from Japan, and there is the rider coming in as we see the score. So actually 72.814 for the German rider Regine Mispelkamp. There is 72.814. Judge at M gave her 75. That is Suzanne Cunningham.
Who's H?
H is Mark Urban. What did he come up with?
69.
Crumbs. Harsh.
Yeah, 6% difference. I would say that's
H is the one on the corner, on the bottom, from where we look in the bottom right-hand corner. And Mark, not so kind. As we get ready, though, for the next test, as this 10-year-old. And Japan, again, it's just experience for the Japanese team here. Obviously, it's Tokyo, and they've got young combinations, young horses. They're just trying to get used to the team competition, the pace of the event. And this is all part of the learning curve for 2 years' time.
Definitely, yeah. There's a lot of new riders from Japan that are coming out of the woodworks ready for Tokyo in 2 years' time. So it's great to see so many new riders out on the scene, and they're going to be looking to put in a few good percentages for the team ready for Tokyo.
She finished 5th on Tuesday. 68.738 was the score then, with Jazef, this 10-year-old gelding.
It's got lots of expression, and I think if she can keep the suppleness, then I think she's going to be in for some high marks. Again, yeah, I just would like to see a little bit more bend through the horse's body. Let's see how this half pass goes. Yeah, good positioning there. Lovely square hole. That's what I'm aiming for tomorrow. Good rein back too. Really lovely steps.
56-year-old Tomiko Nakamura.
That's where I'd just like to see it with a bit more bend through its body and around the rider's inside leg. Just get a little bit more swing over the horse's back, maybe. Good positioning in the half pass again, very equal both ways.
Won a couple of events at Waregem earlier this year. Individual and freestyle. Scored 74.8 in the freestyle. Though.
Yeah, she did really well. I was out there, and she was looking good then. I knew she'd be one to watch at the Worlds.
And with a 10-year-old.
Yeah, plenty of scope for the future.
There was a 6-year-old competing yesterday.
Yeah, in the US team. That's the youngest that the horses can be at FEI international competitions. But for a grade 1 doing walk only, it's just a lot to ask them temperament-wise to come into this big arena with a big atmosphere and with the amount of pressure that the riders are under to perform. I didn't actually see the test yesterday afternoon, but...
I've seen quite a lot of tests. You're asking...
I know, sorry, Rupert.
You're asking me to remember every test.
I hope you remember mine.
I did remember yours.
Good. Nice pirouettes.
He says. That was good. I know you didn't enjoy having to wait 2 hours to find it.
It was torture. I was sitting down watching everybody else, and yeah, that was not a pleasant couple of hours.
And then
here we go for the extension.
did you realise when she went in that when you saw her test, did you go, oh no, I think I'm not winning gold?
Is that Rixed?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, she had a really clean, mistake-free test, and, you know, it was a really, really lovely test to watch, and I had 4 mistakes in mine, so, you know, it was, yeah, it was one of those things. But, you know, I've only had my horse for a few months, and, yeah, I'm just absolutely thrilled that in such a short space of time we've managed to pick up a silver medal. Really lovely, simple changes there.
And a watch.
Sorry?
And a
watch. And a watch, I know. I'm a lucky girl. This is looking like a really nice test. I think it's a lot more polished than the individual was a couple of days ago.
Getting some good marks. And looking around about just maybe a little bit behind Regine's test. But it still looks as if it's going to be in the 70% mark. And
she'll be really happy with that.
Again, the scores are looking, trend is already that's suggesting there will be slightly higher marks for the riders, given the nature of this test, but that's probably what they would be expecting to do, particularly with the grade 5 being the...
yeah, really... Sorry, Rupert.
No, carry on.
Really clear transitions in the simple change there, directly into the walk and straight back up into the canter again. Really lovely and clear. No trot, even a half trot in the transition, so she'll be picking up some good marks for that.
She is getting plenty of good marks in the 7s now, in the mid to high 7s.
Lovely and straight down the centre line.
And I'll tell you what, I think she knows she's done a good test, because that smile said it all. She enjoyed that. So well done to Tomiko Nakamura, giving Jazz a big pat as they finish their test. So it looks as be a score in the 70s. Tell you what, the quality of the competition, the numbers, even the grade 1, the number of riders, and the fact that when you look at, and your competition as well, the quality... 17, but the consistency, the number with the scores in the 70%, and, you know, Erin, you know, finishing 9th, you know, with a 60, what was it, 68?
68, yeah.
It tells you everything you need to know about the improvement in the quality across all classifications.
Definitely. And, you know, I think, and I'm not just saying this because I am a grade 3, but I think there was some seriously tough competition in that class yesterday. And I counted this year, before coming here, about 9 combinations that had achieved over 70% this year. And I know Erin was really disappointed yesterday. Dior just dropped off of her leg and wasn't going forward. But I know that she's going to come back tomorrow and absolutely smash it. I know she will.
I know. So. She's cut from the same cloth as you.
Yeah. We had a little chat in the stables. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Score time. 71.326 is the provisional score.
Very consistent.
M, this time not, it's just below. That's Suzanne Cunningham. I'll tell you who the judges are for this. We've got Anne Prain at E. At H, Mark Urban. Sarah Leach is at C. Suzanne Cunningham of Australia is at M. And Marco Orsini from Germany is at B. There we go. That's the way it looks at the moment after the first three. The Sophie Wales out of the traps with a blisteringly good test of 77.233. And Regine Mispelkamp, she's in the second spot, 72.791. And our last rider, 71.326, Tomiko Nakamura. So now, here we go with the first of the riders from the Netherlands who've had a terrific start to the week with plenty of medals, 2 golds, a silver, in this case with Frank Hosmar, and also a bronze, I think, as well. So they got 4 medals across the board. So that looks pretty strong.
Good, yeah.
And this will be, again, they'll be looking for a good start from Frank on Alphaville, and 73.167. And if I remember rightly, Alphaville is a
band, isn't it?
It is a band, and they had a song called Big in Japan. And if I remember, didn't he have his music slightly set?
I think he did,
yes,
in Sweden last year.
And I'm, being an 80s rocker, well, failed 80s rocker, I used to, yes, it's, I remember this.
Is it all coming out now, Rupert?
Yes, I won't.
It's all coming back to you.
I'm not going to sing it, but...
oh, that's a disappointment.
Yes, but it was a good song. But Alphaville.
Maybe we'll hear it on Saturday.
Yes, and Alphaville, a 13-year-old, maybe in 2 years' time, Frank Hosmar and Alphaville will be big in Japan.
Maybe.
You see what I did there?
I like it. I like it.
Anyway, here we go. Frank Hosmar, the very experienced rider. It looked as the individual was going to be a battle between him and Sophie. It proved to be the case, but Sophie won by over 2 percentage points. So that is a big margin at this level, but particularly between these two. So Frank will be looking for an improvement today. And obviously with the Dutch looking so strong, this would be a confident boosting start if he can get maybe around the 74-75% mark with his test here this morning.
Yeah, I think that's what he's going to be looking to achieve. It's a good start, again, just not showing quite as much pizzazz as Sophie's test, but looking good into the half pass. Some good positioning and lovely crossing. Into the halt. Is it going to be a square one? It is. Oh, slightly back on the left 4. Well spotted, Rupert. It's a funny angle here, though, isn't it?
Well, I cheated.
You did cheat.
Well, he's scoring around about 7.3, so these scores aren't quite up with Sophie's at this stage.
The horse just doesn't look as if it's got as much spirit as it did the other day. It looked like it was firing on all 4 cylinders 2 days ago. It just doesn't have as much sparkle, I don't think, today.
Only got 6.1 for the rein back. Well, it's
again,
like
lovely crossing.
Sometimes you can get out of the stable the wrong way.
Maybe he did. You haven't, though, have you, Rupert?
Nope.
You haven't got out of your stable in the wrong way.
Well, there's a long story, but I could have been in a very funny stable last night.
Well, yeah, I did see that on Instagram.
There might not have been any commentators here today, but that's another story. Luckily, one is he's in the jumping today, but anyway, well done, Philip Gazala. But good story, but anyway, we digress because we should be concentrating on Frank Hosmar's test, and he's around about the 7.2s, so 71, and at the moment, or just slipping around about the Regine Mispelkamp. It seems to feel about the same, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does actually. It just hasn't been as fluent as I've seen this horse go in the past. There's been a few glitches in the rhythm, and the contact hasn't been as consistent as I've seen Frank have before. You can just see the walk rhythm not very clear here, but good collection into the pirouette, a really nice setup and a really lovely neat pirouette as well. And again this way, again keeping the activity behind really nicely, slightly early into the canter transition. And then off he goes.
I know Sophie set the bar very high, but this doesn't, you're quite right, doesn't quite have that oomph.
No.
Pizzazz was the word you used, but
Yeah.
momentum, it doesn't feel as if he's having to work a bit harder.
Yeah, and you know, you have to work with what you've got on the day, and the horses can't say, oh, you know, mum, dad, I'm just not feeling quite on it today. You know, obviously we can communicate that to our team, but the horses can't, and they have different ways of showing it. And you know, as a rider, that's your job to recognise that and to ride it appropriately on the day. Really lovely transition down. Just coming above the bit a little bit and hollowing through his back in the walk, but a good transition back up again. But yeah, it's your job as the rider to monitor that and see how the horse feels and ride appropriately. And maybe, like we said earlier, maybe this horse just isn't quite as on it as it was a couple of days ago. We saw it in the able-bodied with Zonka and his horse Cosmo, who didn't do quite so well in the special. And, you know, it's entirely possible. And the horses have been here a long time.
I was getting some better marks towards the end of the test. Just picked up, and there was a 7.7 and 7.4 for the transition. So it looks as if it's going to be around about the 73 mark, but probably would be hoping for a 74. Can he keep the marks high towards the end of the test? And there's
again a good simple change, just losing the quarter slightly into that canter transition, and again just dropping him. Every horse we've seen so far has either dropped them or come above the bit and gone hollow into that transition.
Well, I've got for the simple change of leg 7.9 judged there.
Yeah,
so that's that was
definitely good.
And there's been some good marks towards the end, so it's picked up.
And some of the judges wouldn't have necessarily seen that hollowing in the walk. So that's the thing about judges, is depends where you're sitting as to what you can see. And the judge probably in front of him at H wouldn't have seen that.
Well, there's always plenty of supporters from the Dutch team around, and you can hear them applauding Frank Hosmar, who has started the Netherlands' quest to prize the gold medal away from the Great Britain team, which they've managed to win at Paralympics, World and the Europeans. A long unbeaten run, but the Netherlands have looked very strong throughout this week, and a solid start rather than a spectacular start from Frank Hosmar with Alphaville, but it could set the tone, and we'll wait on his score to see what kind of mark. Remember, there are 4 team members in the Netherlands' case, and 3 scores will count. So it just shows you how competitive it will be amongst the leading nations, that they'll all be looking to get around about 72 might be the sort of minimum you're going to need across your 3 scores to be competitive, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. No, it's really strong this year, and you know, every year for us it's got closer and closer, and you know, it's not a given that Team GB come home with the team gold medal now. You know, we have to really fight for it, and Sophie has thrown down that 77.2, which is exactly what we needed at the start, and hopefully Lee can later.
Well, Frank's score has come up as 73.512, judge at H with a 71, but a 75 from Suzanne Cunningham at M, and across the board 73.512. What would you say that in terms of a start? I think the team from the Netherlands will be quite happy.
Yeah, definitely. Consistency is key.
Across the board.
Across the board.
Well, and that's what, but occasionally it doesn't half help when you have a 77 in your team score.
Yeah, that
gives you a little bit,
a little boost,
and a little bit of margin for error. If across, you can slip in a 71 maybe.
Yeah.
But not something you want to do. I think this year it's not going to be. In years gone by, that might have been the case, but as we've been indicating all the week, the standard, so many more nations now really competitive, questioning and searching for that gold. The French, though, represented here by Estelle Guillet. She scored 64.738 with this 9-year-old Bay Gelding to finish 6th in the individual. The French, again, probably not amongst the strongest, but again, building and starting to be more competitive.
Yeah, and what really the teams are looking for over the next couple of days is qualification for Tokyo. So I think it's the top 8 teams qualify for Tokyo from this, and then that goes forward to the Europeans next year. So any countries that have already qualified next year at the Europeans, then it goes down to the next 8.
So where are you going for the Europeans next year?
We are going to Holland.
Holland. Oh,
yes,
no.
Rotterdam.
Oh, that's going to be a battle for gold there, won't it?
Yeah, they're going to want that.
There's a battle here, but Rotterdam for the European Championships. Probably about this time next year.
It's August. It's quite early next year. Yeah, this horse looking good, showing some moments of tension. Again, I'd like to just see it a little bit more supple through its body. It would be nice to see a little bit more suppleness in the half passes and the lateral work. But some good, correct paces.
Well, sort of on mark for where she was in the first, around the sort of high 6s. Medium trot come up with a 7.
Lovely relaxed walk, really showing that over track. Could stretch down maybe a teeny bit more for the higher marks. From here it looks like it's tilting slightly as well to the outside, but not 100% clear.
Explain.
So tilting is where they just tilt the head to one side, so you want to keep it vertical. Just hollowing at the end of that pirouette. A little bit more bend through the inside leg would be good in those. You can see the horse just resisting as he comes out. And again in the canter transition. But again, another new rider for France. So, another championship debut, and she's doing pretty well. I think she'll be happy. It's always a lot of pressure coming into your first World Championships, and she seems to be doing a good job.
When was your first? What was your
4 years ago.
First World Championship?
Yeah, I was reserve for the Kentucky World Championships back in 2010, and then did my first championships in 2011 at the Europeans. But then obviously, because they're 4 years apart, got a long wait until you can contest at the next one.
So
really super canter. Just lost the quarters a tiny bit on that turn. But heading into her counter now. Hopefully keeping the regularity on the rhythm. And then let's see about this simple change. Kicking the board slightly, but a lovely direct transition down and back up again. And a good transition into trot as well.
she's getting some pretty decent marks around about the 7-1s. Whoops.
A little bit of loss of balance there at the end. That was a pity because she did a really nice diagonal then.
And I tell you what, Estelle looks very happy with that, and she's enjoyed that. As I said, just the odd mistake, and plenty of French supporters at the out gate from the arena cheering that test. Big pat for her horse, and she enjoyed that, did Estelle, and a pleasing test for her. It's probably going to be around about the 66%. Mentioned she scored 64.738. It does reflect that this, as Natasha has been saying, it's a different test from Tuesday, but probably a less technically demanding test, and hence the reason why the scores are a little better. But we've seen that Frank's score, comparing to his test the other day, he scored 73.167.
So his is pretty consistent.
Just a little, 0.3 percentage points better.
Yeah, but as we said, I think, his horse just didn't look as if it had as much pizzazz as it did 2 days ago. So it's got another rest day tomorrow and then ready for the freestyle on Saturday.
Right, the final stages. Now this confirmed the score, 65.698, and that is better than her individual score, but she's in 5th. She finished 6th on Tuesday, so that is Estelle Guillet with a score of 65.98, and the overall standings, with just one more rider to come in the Grade 5 classification and the team test. Sophie Wells out in front by a long way there, just under 4 percentage points ahead of Frank Hosmel, 77.233. It was a fabulous start to the team competition, and that's why a confidence boosting start for the Great Britain team. We'll have Lee Pearson going in the Grade 2, which will be, and Nicole Den Dulk will be going for the Netherlands, and then, but we will see the first of the Danish team members. Stine Tange Kastrup will be going, starting that Grade 2 in just over half an hour's time. So the last right coming in, and from Germany, who may be having.
She's not German, she's Belgium.
Belgium. I meant to say Belgium because I was thinking ahead of myself here.
Okay, you're getting ready for the next German that's coming in.
No, I was going to actually say Belgium have an outside chance of a medal.
Okay.
Correct? That's what I meant to say.
Okay. I believe you not.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, it is Sisko Vermeulen from Belgium.
I mean, the colours are the same in the flag, so I'll let you off a little bit.
But in a different order, and one's vertical and one's horizontal. In a different direction. Well done, Rupert. Anyway, it's Sisko Vermeulen from Belgium, finished 4th with 69.167. I'll be quiet.
You do make me giggle, Rupert. Yeah, I think this is going to be really interesting, actually, because the other day she was 4th, wasn't she, the other day? And so I reckon she was going to be quite close to Regine. It's going to be really interesting because I think it's going to be tight between Tomiko today and Sisko. I know we're looking at a team perspective and everything here, but yeah, I mean, she's going to be wanting to
I think
better her score.
If she betters the German score, that with the we got Manon, they've got a strong
they have.
team. It may not be, it's not gold medal winning team.
No, but everything's there for a top 5 in the teams for sure.
Because we were saying there's obviously the Netherlands, there's Great Britain, there's Denmark,
and then Italy. With Sarah yesterday.
Oh, how good was she?
She was fabulous.
Oh, and that smile.
I know. She didn't realise that she'd won gold. She thought she'd won the silver medal.
Yes, and she had to be told because she was convinced that Loren Chatin was going to win the win the medal. But as we continue to watch Sisko Vermeulen producing scores around about the 7 at the moment, and she'll be looking, if she can get into the 70s, that will just hopefully give the Belgians a a bit of a boost as they go in search of a medal.
Yeah, looking really good so far. Showing lovely relaxation in the walk. Really stretching down. She's going to be wanting to pick up a few more marks in her canter.
They're just marks hovering around the 7 at the moment.
So at the moment, a little bit behind Tomiko. Let's see what happens in these pirouettes. Good rhythm in the walk. Keeping the activity. Could have been slightly more active, but it was correct. Again, and a good transition to canter. Let's see if she can pick up a few more marks in the canter. And she's off. It was a promising start to that, but it kind of faded a little bit towards the end. Good activity. And off she goes into her canter. Nice regular canter. Good bend. Good direct transition, just could have been a little bit more over the back. Just lost a bit of the contact.
You know, some of these getting some high 7s. That change of leg she did get 7.7. So there's some good marks. She's creeping into the 70s now.
Yeah. It's going to be tight between 3rd, 4th and 5th place, I think.
Obviously, it's all about
the team.
All about the team. That's why the Grade 2 will really be a significant moment, particularly with regard to the Dutch and Great Britain hopes for medal, and maybe even the Danes.
Much better simple change that time. Really nice clear transitions and no hollowing, and a good transition back down into trot. That can be quite hard when the horses have been doing simple changes, so the direct transition from canter to walk, to then do a canter to trot, as we've seen earlier in the tests.
Well, there's been some good elements to this, haven't there?
Definitely.
Coming down the centre line to bring the Grade 5 class to an end in the team competition, and ending is Sisko Vermeulen. And again, looks to have been a decent score, maybe into the 70s. High quality start with those scores, only the one looking at the moment as if it will be sub 70, but some really good dressage to start on this third day of the Adeccant Para-Dressage here at the World Equestrian Games. Sophie Wells blazing a trail with a stunning 77 as we look at Sisko's test, and she looks very pleased with her day's work as she leaves the arena. We will have a short break before we resume. They'll rejig the arena to set it up for the Grade 2s, but it won't take long. There's a big team here ready to spring into action to ready the arena here for the first of the Grade 2s, and it will be the smiling Dane Stina Kastrup will be coming. But here's confirmation that she did make it into the 70s. Sisko Vermeulen finishing on 70.884 in 5th spot, behind Sophie Wells, Frank Hosmer, and here is confirmation of those final standings in the team test in the Grade 5. Sophie Wells with a 77.233, well, she produced the best test in the individual competition, and so far she has produced a stunning opener, which will certainly have an impact on the next with the Grade 2 as the ring staff get ready to prepare the arena. We'll start again at 10:45 in the Grade 2 with Stina, the gold medalist from Denmark, beginning the first of 8 riders who will be taking part in that, including Lee Pearson trying to make amends for his disappointing display on Tuesday.
During the FEI World Equestrian Games Trial 2018. Since 1937, the Chronicle of the Horse has been the industry leader in providing coverage of national and international sport horse competition through the Chronicle of the Horse magazine, its companion lifestyle publication, Untapped, and our dynamic website. You'll gain access to insights on top riders, analysis of the sport, stunning photographs, compelling stories, equestrian lifestyle features, and much more. Visit them online at coth.com today.
Official record of FEI World Equestrian Games Trial 2018. Introducing the completely reinvented range Crew XC1000. It's got the most power, the highest clearance, and the biggest payload. The all-new range Crew XC1000. More rugged, more refined, more range. Get great deals on the off-road sets during the Polaris factory authorized limits. You might not be ready. It might be too much for you. But the stakes are high. And it's time to ride. Some can handle it.
Don't have the time to take your print out right now and would like to get it later? From a different FP in another part of your office. The service of printing is featured on your new Sharpen FPs can do just that. You can secure and send a print out to your default Sharpen FP and pick up whenever you want from up to 5 different Sharpen FPs anywhere in your office. Anytime you want. Why, it's so efficient as possible. Your business just got connected with a Sharpen FP. For more information, visit sisko.sharpdressage.com.
Introducing Spectator, an immersive experience bringing the audience into the heart of the action. Spectators on-site and worldwide can score a live split, challenge each other, collect points, and win prizes. Built on industry-leading SAT technology. Simply choose today's competition from the timetable, select your judging mode, and you're ready to go. You can get insights to assist your judging through the preloaded biographies, stories, and interviews. If you're viewing live from anywhere in the world, fantastic prizes can be won by gathering the most votes. You can collect points by scoring in the different modes, being active and active, interacting with the app, and the best spectator judges will win amazing prizes. Within the app, you can immediately compare your scores to the official judges and the audience app. Thanks to SAT and Blackboard Plus, you can enjoy spectator judging across the globe. So download the Spectator Judging app and join in.
Equestrian pet care products that are keeping world-class equine athletes happy and healthy for generations. Keep your smoking feel good with tender nutritional supplements. Leg and muscle care products, SAS, hoof care, poultice, topical aids, and grooming products. Visit tenderhorse.com today.
And welcome back to the next session, which is the Grade 2 that will begin very shortly in the team competition. Really fascinating start with Sophie Wells just failing to break Michelle George's team score that she produced in the World Equestrian Games 4 years ago, but still a fantastic score in 77.233. But we're ready now for the Grade 2 test. And here we will be starting with the gold medalist from Tuesday, Stine Kastrup from Denmark, with a score of 72.735 she secured on Tuesday to get that all-important gold medal. And the key ones, though, in amongst the 8 riders, Nicole Dentendulk for Holland, and Pearson trying to make amends for what happened on Tuesday when he was retired with style letters. So a big moment in how the team competition could develop under cloudless skies here in the Tryon Stadium. Just a little bit warmer. It's now got to 72 degrees, and the temperatures will continue to rise. And as far as the team competition is concerned, it is certainly getting more and more interesting as well, as we look forward to the arena having been prepared. And it is a smaller arena for the two. There amongst our judges for this one, we have Hanneke Gerritsen at E, Marco Orsini is at H, Anna Prain at C, Mark Urban from Belgium is at M, and Christy Vasocki of the USA is in B. But it's going to be a fascinating start, I'm sure, because with Denmark, this is the first of their riders coming in. And then looking at the judges, they will court the test is, again, a little different from the one on Tuesday. But still very important to set the tone for your team. And they will be looking to get off to a good start. So the arena is prepared, and we'll be waiting for the first rider to come in. As I say, the smiling figure of Stine Kastrup will be coming in shortly, and we'll be looking forward to seeing how she gets on and start the Danish quest for a medal. They look increasingly powerful as a para-dressage unit, and this will be a chance for them to show just how much progress there has been with the team, and how the team result is developing. So the team championship at the moment, obviously, with not every team having produced a rider. Obviously it has Great Britain out in front at the moment with that score of 77.23. Their team made of Lee Pearson, Natasha Baker, and also Erin Orford. But then now coming in, the first of our riders, and it is Stine Kastrup, the Danish rider, coming in, who gets such a wonderful response from Horsbo Smarties, her 17-year-old gelding. And can she produce the goods here, just as she did, the 24-year-old? And it was a great moment when she secured gold the other day. And clearly it was a little, she had an error on the course. It could have been oh so costly, but she got away with it and was able to come ahead and secure that all-important bronze medal, which is terrific. And can she make sure that that doesn't happen again? So now getting ready to come into the arena. The bell sounds for her, but beat Peppo Puch into silver, but he's not taking part. They don't have a team, the Austrians. But Stine Kastrup, she scored 72.735, and it was 72.676. So a very narrow margin, and it could have been so much worse. But we're off and running. Natasha Baker alongside me in the commentary position, and seeing her great friend Stine Kastrup begin. It was a great moment in this week, well, at the World Equestrian Games, seeing that smiling face receiving the gold medal and the subsequent running of the mascara.
Yeah, I think she'd have needed a lot of makeup remover that night.
Well, but this is a fabulous combination.
Yeah, it's looking better today. She's got him pumped up and ready to go. He's looking more consistent in his frame today as well. So you can just about hear the music in the background. This is the music that she's chosen to ride this test to hopefully enhance the performance. So, and into the leg yield. Quarters trailing a little bit at the beginning, but she regained them towards the end, and that's such a hard movement for Stine, obviously having no leg. But she manages to use the whip as her compensating aid. Got a little bit up in the contact into the transition there into trot, but he's going today. He's looking
really
fabulous.
How different is this test?
Again, it's the same as Sophie, so it's slightly easier than the test the other day. She's sitting on 74.6 at the moment, obviously in the lead because she's the first to go. But the first of the Danish riders too.
In the break, Sophie just came up short of breaking the team record score.
Did she?
And Michelle George was, I think, 0.3 higher. In
that's a shame.
But
I'll tell her when I see her later.
Well, what's the news on any gossip ahead of your fellow teammate coming in?
No, we just sent. We've got a group WhatsApp, so we just sent a congratulatory one to Sophie Wells because she smashed it.
No, she did. But at the moment, that's a nice halt, isn't it?
Yeah, just slightly
forward,
leaving the right hind out ever so slightly. Back into the leg yield. Great angle there on that camera. Showing, yeah, much better leg yield this way. Really good, really parallel. That'll be picking up some high marks.
Well, that halt got 7.7. She's getting plenty of high marks, so she's
better transition that time into trot. Really enjoying this music as well. Yeah, he's looking so good today, much more consistent in its frame. Some good steps in the medium, just came back a little early on that diagonal.
It was a study in concentration there.
Oh, just lost his balance. I don't know if that was a spook. Just veered off of the track a little.
Yeah.
On the short side.
You can see she came around, she looked like she was just struggling a bit, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She was really having to work hard.
It's a big trot to sit to, and then to regain her control from the transition back down into a working trot. I think she may have just lost her balance a little. This test is so bitty. There's so many walk trot transitions, but she's still sitting on that 74.2%.
Yeah, and it's all about the mid-sevens. You can't stress just how difficult it is to ride under these circumstances and produce a test, but the horse and rider just trust each other implicitly, and you can see that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she's got such a strong bond with Smarties, and you can see how much he you know, they've got such a great rapport together. They help each other out. They give each other confidence, and yeah, she absolutely adores this horse. But he is 16, so she's got a couple of horses at home. I know she's got at least one horse at home that she'll be looking to produce up.
I'm going to have to correct you.
Is he 17?
He's 17. My turn to correct you this time.
At least I didn't say she was 44. She told me off for that as well. Should I heard in the commentary, they said that I was 44 years old. I said it wasn't me.
Yeah, but she's right. I hope you apologised on my behalf.
She's 24.
I know she is, and I obviously wrote it down wrong.
Fabulous test.
Well
Amazing.
done, and a big
Give
kiss.
me a big cuddle.
So that's a good start for the Danes, and as they expected, the individual gold medalist here, Stine Kastrup, and infectious smile back on the face. It was a study of concentration during it, and there is confirmation of just the way she adores this horse. He's got his ears pricked. He knows he's done a good job.
Yeah, and that was a great demonstration of exactly what Stine's disability is. You can see that she is just a torso, and to do what she does, you know, that she's not being strapped down. She has got the most unbelievable core strength, and she's just admired by so many people in the para world.
Well,
there you go. She is an incredible rider. She's got so much natural feel, and every single horse that she rides is just
she's
amazing.
The greatest ambassador for the sport, isn't she?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah,
and she knows it. She knows her role, but it's not. It's completely natural.
Yes.
This is what I love doing, and I'm going to show you why I love doing it.
Definitely.
And that's her. And
here we go.
Here we go with the marks, and it's 74.8448. So good marks there. 74.848. That's a good start.
I think E was a little stingy there. 72. I would not have said that was a 72% test, but
Mark Urban.
Sorry, Mark. Be nice to me tomorrow.
Mark seems to be doing every single one at the moment.
The thing is, if you know, as long as the judges mark what they see in their fare throughout the whole of the class, then you don't mind if they're consistently a little bit lower. But yeah, it's just interesting to see the discrepancy between the judges, and obviously it does depend on where the judges are sitting as well. That makes a big impact on what they see.
Well, I have to say, I've obviously seen everything. Just felt the judges have been very consistent across the board.
Good. That's good to hear.
That's, you know, occasionally you do see. We saw a 75 to a 69 in one test, but that's the exception rather than the rule.
Good. Second of the Japanese riders now, so.
And this is Soshi Yoshigawa riding Brown Sugar, a 12-year-old mare. Scored 61.088, so it's really just about the experience for Soshi, and finished 8th in the team competition. So obviously they've had one rider going so far, and that was Tomiko Nakamura. Pretty good test in the 70s for the Japanese rider.
Brown Sugar.
But while they're not amongst the medal contenders, it's about the experience, as we've been reiterating for 2 years down the line.
So you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Rupert, but I need your 80s rocker head to come back on. Brown Sugar's a song, right?
It was by the Rolling Stones. I think you'll find it was 70s.
Ah, I'm a decade out. But that's good. I wasn't even born in the 70s, Rupert.
Right.
You know.
I think it might have found.
I need some credit.
And I think it, to be controversial, I think it was banned.
Oh.
I think it has, back in the day, it's not just about Demerara Sugar, I don't think.
Okay. Anyway.
But Rolling Stones anyway, Brown Sugar.
Back to the dressage. What a sweet mare.
1971, there you go. I've just found.
1971, good old Google.
Yeah. Yes. Well,
Really?
I was born then.
No.
I was 12.
Really lovely start to the test. This mare looks really consistent in her contact, not moving at all, giving this rider a lot of confidence and into the leg yield. Quarters trailing a bit in this and just could show a bit more crossing. Also just lost a little bit of impulsion in the sideways. But such an honest mare. I missed this rider and horse combination the other day, but yeah, looking really, really sweet. Do we know what they got 2 days ago, Rupert?
Yes, I can tell you, 61.088.
Nice.
Finishing 8th. And the marks around about the same sort of suggestion today.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the difference between this rider and Smarties. And for the higher marks, obviously Stinner had a much better connection. The horse was a lot more uphill. But, you know, this is very, very correct. The horse is on the bridle and is round. You just, for the higher marks, you want it more through. But it's nice and consistent and creating a very pretty picture. The rhythm and the trot is good.
Just 18 years of age.
The rider,
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Born on the 7th of August, 2000.
2000, oh my God, that makes me feel so old.
So as you can see, this is not about, you know, the fact is he's here by,
It's for the future, isn't
clearly
it?
he'll be 20
Yeah.
when the Olympics, or around about his birthday. We don't
I'm
know.
glad to see that your maths is on point
Right.
there, Rupert.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, again, quarters trailing a little bit in the leg yield.
Yeah, but when I looked it up and had 2018, goodness me.
I'm an 80s baby by 1 day,
Oh, crumbs.
30th of December 1989. I expect a birthday card, Rupert.
Very good. That messes up your presents at Christmas, doesn't it?
No, because I demand 2.
we knew you were a diva.
Well, I just don't think it's
Yeah.
fair that you get the joint present just
Right.
because your birthday's 5 days after to Christmas. You know, it's 2 separate occasions.
Well,
Anyway,
I'll send you a copy of the record Brown Sugar. But anyway, back to what's going on out here. 6.6. I mean, the scores are improving, and it, from the rider's perspective, he experienced what happened on Tuesday. That's another bit of, he'll be less daunted,
yeah.
less, you know, not necessarily intimidated, but just will be able to relax more and enjoy it more, and
Yeah.
that obviously helps when you're trying to bring on a horse as well.
Definitely. Yeah, it's all about giving confidence to the partnership. The walk here is looking a little bit lateral, which is when the front and the back leg move at the same time, and it's not a regular 4 beat. So that would have lost him some marks in that. But the trot work is looking really smart. Just lost a little bit of impulsion on that second half of the circle. I think tiredness is starting to kick in a little bit.
And you've also got, it's quite a physical strain. You can't reiterate enough that with the disabilities at grade 2, which is, you know, not the most disabled, but still you are battling. It's physically and mentally demanding. That
Definitely.
You're trying to steer a horse to do something with you battling your own physical condition.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, when watching Stinner, it's pretty obvious what her disability is. But when you've got riders like this, that obviously you can see that he's struggling with his hands, and there's obviously a slight disability there. I'm not quite sure of this rider's disability, but he's also not using his legs. So I'm guessing it's a disability that is affecting his whole body. But he's doing such a great job, and for a first World Championships, he should be so proud.
Yeah, and he looks it too. There we go. And that tells you it is about the experience. Whoops, horse just a little bit keen, but he gathered the reins up quickly and the horse got back. But reacting to the applause, it's going to be around about 61%. But for the 18-year-old, what a moment for him.
We've just seen that Stinner's score has been adjusted and has gone up slightly to 74.848.
So that is good for her and for Denmark. And the second Japanese rider completing his test.
That reaction was lovely, wasn't it? Really, look at him.
It's not necessarily about what score. I'll tell you what, it's here when the horse suddenly decides, whoops, there we go.
See?
But how quickly was he there to gather?
He was. He did a fab job. No, what a really, really lovely combination there.
And there you can see there's a couple of Japanese flags being waved, and he's waving back at his supporters there as he comes out of the arena, enjoying the moment. And he will be competing in the freestyle.
Fabulous.
He was 8th. Lee won't be.
No.
But in a way, so that's the important. Get it right today. So the score coming through, and it is 61.545. 61.545. And again, there's H62 and a C59, but overall a pretty consistent.
Yeah, very consistent. Yeah, it was a lovely, consistent test, and you know, for the start of his career in para-dressage, I think he'll be over the moon.
Indeed, and there's just where the team situation is with regard to Japan. The one's counting scores so far. Well, obviously the lowest one is discarded, 71.279, but 2 more riders still to go. Now.
This is when it's going to get interesting.
Right, now Natasha's going to be watching this very closely. We have the bronze medal winner from Tuesday in the Grade 2, the Dutch rider Nicole den Dulk, coming in with Wallace NOP, this 15-year-old gelding. They scored 70.735 on Tuesday. I'll get there in the end. It's quite hard to remember what day of the week it is.
It is, to be fair. We've been out here for, well, I've been out here for a very, very long time, and you've been out here.
Well, only since Sunday, but...
the days are blurring into one.
They blur into one, but it doesn't... What's important is, can she put a score in the 70s, which you would expect her to do so.
Definitely.
But it's where in the 70s. Remember, Frank Hosmar already has gone for the Dutch team, and he scored 73.488. And with this, just getting the horse, Nicole again, vastly experienced. Coming in to the arena, and let's see how she gets on here. An important moment in the destiny of where the medals are going, with the second of the Dutch riders beginning. The 2 gold medalists still to come in their team. So it shows you what a powerful quartet they are, all coming away with medals from the individual competition.
Got very jolly music in the background. He's looking super today.
I should recognise it. I think it's George Ezra.
It is George Ezra. This is my mum's favourite song. She's loving it at the moment.
I'm so down with the kids.
You are, Rupert.
I wouldn't say George Ezra is the sort of music that's down with the kids. If he's liked by your mother, she's probably I don't know whether she's the same age as me, but...
I think she is, Rupert, actually. Right, here we go. And
I'm
nice.
going to tell the director to concentrate on directing rather than making cheeky comments about my age in my ears.
Really good leg kill from Nicole. Sorry, we've all got the giggles in the commentary box now. Mum, you're very young.
So, more importantly, worry about this score in terms of getting 6.8s and the scores early on in the test.
Lovely serpentine, really keeping a nice consistent frame. Lovely transition down as well, really pushing from his hindquarters. It's losing the outside shoulder at the start of that 8-meter circle, but keeping a lovely rhythm in the walk.
That trot looks quite nice.
It does, it looks super today. Sitting on 72.250, just behind Stinner at the moment. Again, lost his balance there across the short diagonal. It's hard to see. He's just leaving a right hind out very slightly. I couldn't see the front.
Well, where they hold, it's right in front of the box. So, and where our camera, we're right on the centre line.
Just behind.
The one thing we can't see, but I just got the one leg wasn't quite square.
Good crossing again in this leg yield.
It's still got 7.6 for that halt. Some good scores coming in here.
That transition was just coming a little bit more from in front. You want the transition to be pushing from behind the saddle from the hindquarters. That was kind of like a leap into trot. That's being really fussy though.
Well, got 6.8. So one or two just, but it.
I think she must be a George fan. Got another George song.
I think he's not short of fans.
Really good rhythm in the walk. Showing a clear over track. A nice stretch.
All around about the sevens, sort of mid to low sevens. And
72.2 at the moment.
but this is really the sort of proof that you will need three riders, definitely 72 or more, if you're going to be having gold medal aspirations here, and that's the target.
Can hear Nicole using her voice, which is one of her aids. Obviously she's got the whip as well, but it's much nicer to get the horse working off of the use of the voice, and the whip is then secondary to back up the voice if they're not quite listening. It was interesting actually, I spoke to Barbara Minichi, who's in my grade in the grade 3s, who rides side saddle, and in our grade, well, in all of the grades actually, we can use soundproof ears. So the fly bonnet that you can see Wallace here using, they can have thicker sections on their ears, so it just keeps out a bit of the noise. And she hadn't used them on her horse before coming here, and she decided to use them to just help him focus. But when you have horses that are trained to the voice, the horse then couldn't hear the rider.
Well, I'll tell you what you can hear is, not surprisingly, the whooping and a hollering of the Dutch supporters after that test from Nicole den Dulk with Wallace. A very solid looking test, and from a team perspective, just what they would be looking for. It looks as if it's going to be around about the 72, maybe 73% in the end once the final score, and that will sit very nicely alongside Frank Hosmar's opening score of 73.488. Remember, it's 3 scores to count, and for the Dutch they have 2 gold medalists to come as part of their quest to come away with another medal. They've been dominant so far, with a very strong team and going well. And there is Nicole with her reaction, delighted with that test and proving how competitive they will be. She scored 70.735 in the individual, but as Natasha was saying, the test is slightly different, probably slightly easier, hence the reason why the scores tend to be slightly higher than the scores from the individual.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the horses are more confident going in for a second day as well. You know, the first day of competing, there's always a bit of tension from the horse and the rider. And I think going in for the second time, especially if you had a good first day, it does give you confidence going in for the second round.
Well, we've now got the scores will be coming through in a moment with regard to Nicole Den Dulk, but this is the next French rider, Chloé Mislin, coming in for France. 66.735 she scored, but now the scores come through. 72.909 is the score for Nicole Den Dulk, so doesn't match Frank's score, but it is that score in the 70s and in the 72 range, just short of 73%, 72.909. The second Dutch score, again, there was a 74 at M, a couple of 74s in there, but overall a B, though, coming in. That is the American judge coming in with a 70 score, just at 70%. But there is the details, that it's 73.488. So at the moment, Nicole's score could be the discard score for the team. But that's a strong start if 73 is going to be the score, the lowest score, which could be, if you look at what they've achieved so far.
Yep.
That's quite a tasty start from the team from the Netherlands.
They'll be pretty happy, I would have thought.
So, though it is now Chloé Mislin coming in from France. As I say, 66.735 she scored. And the 12-year-old Don Caruso, the gelding that she is riding. And coming down the centre line to begin her test on another gorgeous sunny day. Just think how bad the weather was a few days ago, but now sharply contrasting conditions. So here we go with the second of the French team riders.
Incredibly active walk, actually verging on a jog. I'd like to see that a little bit more settled for some high walk marks.
The first rider was Estelle Guillet, scored 65.698.
So some of these riders can have their tests called for them. It might mean that they have difficulty remembering the tests or an intellectual disability, which means that they are able to have the caller there just as a backup so they remember exactly where they're going. But they do have to have a steward standing next to them just to make sure that they are actually saying what is going on in the test. Oh, that's a real pity for that transition.
Well, we can see to the side of the arena. You just might catch a glimpse there. You can see where the caller is in there. In the top of your picture, there is the steward standing next to the caller on behalf of Chloé Mislin.
The riders are also obviously allowed to wear glasses too. I used to ride in glasses, but I use contact lenses now. I just find they bounce a little bit too much.
Probably couldn't find the right looking glasses in your case. Well, she's scoring well. These marks, some of them are a little bit, as you know, the serpentine loops were a bit low, so just struggling.
Yeah, the serpentine would have been a bit low because of that unfortunate transition at A where he decided to canter. So that would have dropped that whole movement, which is a real pity. That looks very, very square. It was a bit unsettled in the contact coming into it, though. And that's been the general kind of way of going of this test so far. He just looks a little bit more unsettled than he did a few days ago. And you can see here the tension creeping in the walk. Nice parallel steps, though, in the leg yield. Better transition into the trot. I can't hear any music, so I'm guessing she's chosen to ride without music.
Is that because with the caller as well?
Maybe,
and
maybe.
There he is, as you can see.
But then still, these riders have to ride a freestyle, and that has to be to music. So I know that Six Nations haven't produced music for the team test, so maybe this is just one of those. It was written into the rules back in January this year, and I'm not quite sure what the outcome was, but last night I heard from the chefs meeting that if they didn't have music, they were going to either not play music at all or just use their own background music. So it's a shame that countries haven't taken up the opportunity to provide their own music, because it certainly can enhance the horse's test. So it's obviously a new rule and something that they'll probably be looking at, hopefully, in the future.
Well, this is on course possibly not to be quite as good as her test on Tuesday. As you say, the horse just doesn't seem to have not quite settled.
No, it's just showing some inconsistencies, more so in the walk. It's just looking a little bit too hurried. There's so many transitions in this test. It's so hard to keep the fluency because of the amount of transitions that there are.
And the concentration levels required too. Because,
yeah.
Because you're having to...
Absolutely. Better frame in the 8-metre circle there. A bit more consistent, but still quite hurried in the walk. And down her final centre line.
And
just step back in that final hole. That's a pity because that was square.
well, that's Chloé Mislin, the French rider, the second of the French riders. Didn't quite go as well as she would have liked, but sometimes, as we say, horses are not machines and don't always quite give you what you want, and it was tough work, but the job was done. The French not considered potential medalists, but looking again for that qualification and just a good solid team performance, and clearly they will be happy enough. And there is the caller with Chloé as they come out.
We just had a slight change in the score again of Nicole's. Quite a few of them are being changed upwards, which I think the riders would be happy about. 72.909.
939 now.
939, sorry.
939, just it's gone up by, well, anyway, I can't work that out. 72.939 from 72.909. Quite often, the first scores we get are the provisional, and the provisional score for Chloe Mislin is 65.0 exactly, and into third spot in the, as far as the individual in this competition is concerned. But as far as the French concern, another score in the 65s with Estelle Guillet scoring 65.698. So at the moment, Chloe's score is the discard. They've got two more. Vladimir Vincent will be their next rider to go, and he will be going this afternoon, if I'm not mistaken, in the grade 4 this afternoon. So it is Stina Kastrup who's produced the best test in this grade, the grade 2, 74.848. And
Who have we got now?
we have coming in from, as he finds his piece of paper here, it is from Finland. I've got so many pieces of paper, I've got it here. Jana Kivimäki, 62.294 the Finnish rider scored, riding on Tuesday, the 14-year-old Grey Gelding, and Jana finished 7th in that competition. The 44-year-old Finnish rider, and Legolas is the horse. Lovely looking grey coming in and to the arena, and well, can she match that in terms of the Finnish score?
This is our first Finnish rider, isn't it?
I think it is. Yes. Their team, says he looking down, is a 3-rider team. They've got Pia-Paulina Reite and Katja Leinen. They will be going, but this is a 3-rider team, so every score for Finland will count. So important from their perspective. We've also got Hong Kong with a 3-rider team, and Italy haven't had their first rider yet, and neither have Portugal. The United States of America still to produce a rider, and Angela Peavy will be their first rider to go for the Americans.
Yeah, so it's up to the nation, obviously, how many riders they have in the team, but you can have 4. If you choose to have 3, then obviously you don't get the drop score. So there's a lot more pressure on the 3 riders than if you have the 4 available to drop 1. But in Tokyo, we're not allowed to have a 4th rider.
So 3 and in.
3
basically.
in, yeah. 1 individual, but they're not allowed to ride the team test.
Right. That's going to make it even more...
Very interesting.
Well, it'll add to the pressure point. There's no let up, and it will,
Nope.
from a selection point of view, and it's going to be a tough one. So be very intriguing. But, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on each rider. Will you feel more pressure?
The thing is, you want to go in and just ride your best test, and if you know that you can ride your best test, then you know you're going to get the scores. So you can only do as good as you can on the day, and you've kind of got to put the pressure to the back of your mind and not really think about the fact that the country's kind of hanging on you.
The key is the selectors.
It is.
The selectors have got to make the right call. And if you look at what you've done this week, how would you have approached this week? We wouldn't have expected what have happened to Lee Pearson, and presumably with his reputation, he might have got the nod as one of the 3.
Who knows?
Who knows? And this is where the selector's job will become a much more, or the chef d'équipe's role once you get out there to nominate your 3 riders. It's going to be
our selectors are actually out here as well, supporting us, which is really nice. But they don't have an easy job.
No,
not at all.
Well, certainly elements of the British team, the eventing team, the selectors,
they got it spot on.
They got it spot on. They copped some flack before, but
did.
In the end they came away with the eventing gold, and then a record score too, to win
fantastic
a gold medal. But now it's about Jana. She is into her test, and she's scoring around about Well, some of them are high 6s, which is probably what would, well, if she keeps that up, this will be a much better test than she produced on Tuesday when she came in with 62.294. Next in will be Lee Pearson.
Ooh.
But keep calm, because it's got to come up with a score from his perspective in the 70s. But here, probably from the finish point of view, it's about trying to get that qualification for Tokyo. So a good start to their team. And at the moment, around about the 65 mark. 6.6s along the way.
Yeah, there's just been some irregularities in the contact. I mean, there in that frame it looks nice, but occasionally he just loses the balance, and just like that, the horse just comes off the bridle. Beautiful square halt.
That is good.
That's very, very smart. And then straight into the leg yield. The first one looked very parallel, so let's see if she can replicate that this way. So the rider has to ride straight first and then start the leg yield across the EB line. I think this might be the rein that she struggles on the most, but keeping nice and parallel, losing the quarters just on that last couple of steps, but the majority of it was very smart.
Only got 6.4 for that halt.
For that halt? Really? The transition into it wasn't brilliant, but the actual halt itself was very good.
Well, she looked pretty stable as well.
Yeah, it did look stable. Like I said, the frame going into it was a little bit irregular, so maybe they were taking that into account when marking the halt, but it was incredibly square.
Well, she's getting some 7s. These scores are, this is an improving test.
Yeah, it is actually. The horse looks a lot more settled towards the end here, looking a lot more relaxed. It came in and was quite tense. Into the free walk. I'd like to just see that stretch down a bit more. You can see that she's given the horse the rein, but he's not really taking it forward and down and stretching over his back.
66, round about that sort of mark at the moment.
Yeah. And what did she get the other day? Sorry, was
62.
Oh,
.294.
a massive improvement then.
Yep, so this is a good test at the moment for...
Again, just lost it there at... See, oh, that's a real shame. Just mixed signals in that transition. The horse just hollowing through its back and coming above the bit.
Keeping market, keeping going, seeing how costly those little mistakes might have been.
Yeah, I think that would have been, because that would have affected the transition and the 20-metre circle there. So, good medium trot. That was pretty expressive. Better transition down into the walk.
She didn't show me on my score what she got for those, but a 7 for the lengthened steps.
Yeah, that was nice.
And all around about the 7 for some of these now. So, although that was costly because it did drop her percentage down to around about 65, so I don't know exactly what the judges scored her for those.
But that's still three more than she got the other day, so...
And the way the scoring is, and even at the end, you suddenly see it being a little bit higher from what we see here.
Yeah.
On our...
Yeah, because they had the collectives. The collectives make a big difference. Just losing a bit of straightness coming down the centre line.
And the collectives explain exactly what...
So the collectives, they're marking the horse itself. So they're marking the paces and the suppleness and the activity. And then the final mark is on the rider. So the effectiveness and the skill of the rider to perform the test. So that comes into play position and accuracy. Accuracy is probably the biggest one.
So Jana Kivimaki has completed her test. And I think she will feel mighty satisfied with a test that will give her a mark much better than her one on Tuesday. Horse worked hard, she worked hard, and looking at it now, very powerful looking horse.
Yeah, he's a pretty tall horse as well, isn't he? And here comes Mr. P.
Right, and no, Sir P.
Sir P.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Sir Lee Pearson to give him his full title, and the much decorated British para-dressage rider. And he now has a lot of pressure on his shoulders because Tuesday was a surprise. He's got the benefit of a horse coming into the arena to act as a
friendly horse.
Friendly horse, and who's
That's George.
George again.
George again. He's loving it in this arena.
And George nailed it earlier.
He did nail it.
And he's standing there with his ears pricked. You can just see him there in the corner there going, I wish I'd got that record. I nearly got the record, but he was magnificent earlier. And he'll be hoping, as will Natasha and the rest of the team, that Sir Lee Pearson can find the magic that eluded him and his homebred horse, Styletta. And this is a moment, was a surprise to all and sundry, and Lee he was, I think, well, you were baffled because you were here with me at the time.
I was, yeah.
And clearly, though, yesterday, regrouping, Tuesday night, he would have probably feeling pretty low.
Yeah.
But what about, what was it feeling in the team room last night, as they say?
I think he's feeling a lot more confident now, and obviously he was even deliberating coming in today, but he's definitely feeling more confident. Last year Lee had a year off, and actually he took to a bit of reining, which was quite interesting. So after his not so good day the other day, here we go,
scores for Jana Kivimaki, 65.818. She'll be very pleased with that. That's a much better score, over 3 percentage points higher than her score on Tuesday. So a good little start for the Finnish team with that. Not obviously with medal aspirations on the look at the 4 riders, but in terms of overall picture of where it could lead them. It could lead them on the plane to Tokyo. Now, this is significant because Lee Pearson has now the much decorated, the multi-medalist with his homebred Styletta. Loves this horse, but they just didn't find the magic. Things didn't go right, but can they today find something that puts the pressure on the Dutch team? Off we go, and you can breathe, Natasha.
I can't.
Okay, but can you breathe and talk? Can you try and talk?
I'll talk. I'll talk you through it.
How long's this test? If you don't breathe while this test is on, you won't be riding tomorrow.
She's looking more relaxed today already.
And a 7, opening up with a 7 with that halt. So that is a nice start. This is better, isn't it, already?
Yeah, she had a little fiddle with the bit a second ago at the first half of that 20-metre circle, but I think he's just going for a nice safe test today, which we would be very grateful for. Lovely transition down into the walk and into the leg yield. This is something that Lee really excels at, as does the mare.
I watched the warm-up on Monday, and he looked very comfortable, but
yeah,
for whatever reason, things just never went, and the confidence of both sort of evaporated midway through the round.
Yeah, she's looking really active, in a good frame. Keep it together, Lee. Keep it together, Styles. 71.750 into the Serpentine.
It will be a settler for you and Erin as well, won't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's what you're looking at, and knowing that, because immediately, presumably you're going first tomorrow. I don't know what the order is.
Yeah, I'm before Erin tomorrow.
So there's...
No, this is looking so much better from Lee and Styles.
Well, everything's over 7, which is the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can he get to around about 72?
I think with this mare, she has got so much talent. And when she is on it, she is seriously on it. And she's a really top horse. And I think because it feels so good when she's like that, Lee wants that all of the time. And they're mares and they're horses, and you can't always get that all of the time. But this is a really nice, steady performance from Lee. It's not the best that I've ever seen them do, but after the other day, I just think they need a confidence-boosting round. And look at that halt. Lovely.
Yes, very tidy.
Very smart. And forward again, please, Styles.
You're not going into commentator mode, you're going into supporter mode here, aren't you?
Sorry, I am biased.
Well, this is significant from the team perspective. The score's
Lovely
looking in the 70s, the low 70s, but that will be a mark that will, whether it just will make, well, for Erin as well.
Yeah, we need this.
Because she's obviously, this is her first World Championship for Erin, but Lee, you and Sophie, you've got plenty of miles under the clock with championships, so you're used to it.
Yeah, and it is a different pressure when you've got that on your shoulders of your first World Championships.
Well, he's round about the 70s, so it's decent enough at the moment. One or two decent scores coming in.
Lots of pats for Styletta throughout the test, really trying to give her really trying to give her the confidence in this big atmosphere. This is the biggest atmosphere that she would have ever been in, and you know, you just want it to be a good experience, especially after the other day. That's better. At the beginning there, just tucking her head behind the vertical, but much better towards the end.
So everything is around about the 71.
I can't hear any music either, but I know that Lee has got music, so I'm not quite sure what's happened to that, but a little bit of tension there in the first half of the circle, but relaxing again. He's so good at giving the horses the confidence in the arena. It's looking good, looking safe.
And obviously around about 71, we expect it maybe to be a bit higher because that's very
That was good, yeah.
There was plenty of
Oomph.
yes, word of the day.
Oomph. I like that word. Just hollowing a little bit in the transition, coming back into walk.
George is bored in the top corner.
Lewis is probably feeding him a lot of treats to keep him occupied. So much better today from Lee and Styles.
Good marks coming in, just to the well into the sevens, so that's good. Keeping it around about the 71. So along with the 77, this is the kind of score that it's all going to even out, but it shows how close it's going to be. And as he halts there, a huge smile for Lee Pearson. I think
Sigh of relief.
Sigh of relief, and I think the way he's put his hands down on the Styletta, it is a sense of relief. But he knows that he's produced a solid test for his team, and that has given, well, a huge sigh of relief from all and sundry amongst the British team that Lee Pearson and Styletta have delivered the goods and will be making a contribution. Sadly, that's the last time we'll see the horse at these World Equestrian Games, as with that retirement means they won't be taking part in the freestyle. But the important thing was that he took part today and has got Styletta producing a decent enough test on behalf of the team after Sophie Wells with that brilliant score of over 77. So what will be the final score? Anything around about the 72. And look at the relief, and you know him well, that was one of few, and a sigh at the end going, I've done it. I hope I've done my bit.
Definitely. I was really worried that we were going to lose him to reining after the performance the other year, and he actually competed at the World Championships in reining, and they're going to be again this year in Lyon at the start of November. But here we go.
71.606 is the score, B69, but there was a couple of 73s in there. But 71.606. Now that, at the moment, there is the finish score, just to confirm their first of their three riders, Jana Kivimaki, and 65.848 for the Finns. But there with the team so far, obviously that's 77, and their confirmation that Natasha will be third up, and then Erin. So they'll be needing scores around about the 73. But at least Lee Pearson has posted a score.
Definitely. No, that's a really, big sigh of relief for me as well.
That said it all, I think, didn't it?
Definitely.
Because I mean, presumably, from a team perspective, even this morning, have you got the confidence back, and does he feel good, but clearly there was some good work done yesterday.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, I think he was really happy with the way that that she was yesterday in training, and I think they changed their warm-up plan slightly. So yeah, I think they're feeling a lot more confident. It's just such a shame that he didn't get through to the freestyle, and then hopefully he could have gone for it a little bit more. But there you go.
Well, the first of the Italian riders coming in now to begin. They've got the 4-rider team. Obviously, the star of the show is Sara Morganti, who, of course, is now the individual Grade 1 gold medalist. She won individual freestyle at Caen, but Italy may be harbouring with Sara in the team some outside thoughts of medals, but on Tuesday, Morelio Vaccaro scored 66 in finishing 5th, so a good score will be what he will want, and better that score. Remind you, the best score in this grade so far, the gold medalist, and once again proving the best with Stinner 74.848. Lee Pearson going into 3rd of this in the looking at the class with that 71.606.
This is the starts of a nice test. A good rhythm in the walk and into the leg yield, keeping nice and parallel. Nice suppleness in the serpentine, showing clear change of bend in the change of direction, just losing a little bit of balance on some of those turns.
Score around about 6.5, so again, sort of slightly in keeping with where he was the other day, so maybe a bit under. Any reaction from your teammates?
We're just all congratulating Lee. Erin said, awesome job. And I said, well done, sir. Yeah, for the higher marks, I just want to see this pushing a bit more from behind up. You want to see the pole at the highest point. The pole is the bit between the horse's ears, and you can just see that that drops slightly. The horse doesn't come behind the vertical really, but that's better there. That's where he wants to keep the head and neck and the frame. Nice diagonal. Parallel, sorry, nice parallel leg yield. And good transitions as well.
That looked very effortless.
There you go. We're going to have to get you on a horse, aren't we, Rupert?
Poor horse.
I think that could be... Can we sell tickets? Here we go. Showing some lovely steps in the medium. Yeah, Para-Dressage Masterclass by Rupert Bell.
It's just not happening. I feel for your fellow riders.
Lovely stretch here in the free walk.
There's some good marks coming in here. Sort of certainly getting near the 7s, and that's where you want to see, just improving as the test unfolds. And he's doing that.
just slipping a little bit through the outside shoulder there on the return to the track. He was just bending him a little bit too much to the inside. And as a result, oh, he's off now. Look at him go. This horse has a lot of what was our magic word of the day 2 days ago, Rupert.
Help me out here. I can't remember what happened 10 seconds ago, let alone...
Cadence.
Cadence. Ah, cadence.
That was our word of the day.
Cadence.
Yeah. What does cadence mean, Rupert?
Expression.
Yes. Yes. Not bad. Bounce.
Bounce,
yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Natasha. Whose idea was it to get her to come and join me in the commentary box?
You love me, really.
She's got chirpy, because Lee's done a good test and she's feeling a bit more confident. If it had all gone...
I just like winding you up.
Great game.
If you're going to host this masterclass, you need to know what cadence is.
Yes.
Really nice finish to this test.
So it's looking around about a 65% score for the first of the Italian riders. And it is Murillo Vaccaro and Bonaire van der Mottelhoeve. And he's very pleased with that. And a little pump of delight. I mean, I can't stress enough the pressure and the sort of the build-up, and you know, if one reason or another he might not have been feeling very well himself. Well, the horse, in there he is, comes through and is absolutely delighted with that performance as he comes out of the arena.
Nailed it.
As we look at little bits of his test.
I think he'll be sitting in 4th position, will he?
And look at that. I'd love to see the reaction of you riders when you finish.
I can't remember what my reaction was yesterday.
I tell you what, you didn't overdo it.
Didn't I?
No.
Okay.
I think you looked pleased.
Okay.
You had your game face on.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. I'll smile more tomorrow.
Well, it depends what you score, really, what you think you've done, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's true. I knew I'd made mistakes in my test yesterday, so
I think that's what said it. I think that's why you didn't suddenly sort of rip it at the end. But 65.303 for Murillo Vaccaro and Bonaire van der Mottelhoeve. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Straight in between Jana and Chloe.
Yeah, and then so we've got 3 in the 70s. There's Stinner, Kastrup, Nicole Dendulk and Lee Pearson. That's the 1, 2, 3. But in terms of team, that's the first Italian rider. Obviously, the key one is Sarah Ganti, who will be going in the Grade 1. She was just quite brilliant yesterday. And like Stinner had a smile that lit up this arena, Sarah's smile yesterday was equally as captivating.
Yeah, and she's had a really tough time of it recently as well, Sarah. Her horse travelled all the way to Rio and then failed the veterinary inspection, so she wasn't able to compete out there. And then she's had a really difficult time health-wise this year. So just to be here is amazing, and to pick up that gold medal yesterday, it was just beautiful to watch.
Well, Michelle George will be pleased that Sophie Wells didn't break her record in the team qualification, but she is, the reason I mention her is there she is talking to the Brazilian rider Marcos Fernandes Alves, coming in with his horse Vladimir, and obviously now training the Brazilians. Vastly experienced Grade 5 rider on behalf of Belgium. They'll be missing. Is she not got a horse, or is she just take a change of direction?
She's got some young horses that are up and coming. She had a young horse out at the Europeans last year. I'm not sure if it was her decision or a selected decision for her not to come on a horse this year. I think, you know, when you come to these, you want to be in contention for a gold medal, especially with her reputation and her background, and I think that she felt that she wasn't going to be in contention for a gold, so therefore she'd rather be here as a trainer.
Well, and she's now just giving a last-minute pep talk to Marcos before he starts his test to bring the Grade 2 part of the team championship to a conclusion. Denmark, Holland and Britain all with significant scores as far as that is concerned. But now from Brazil, who again, probably with their 4 riders, this is the first of their 4 riders. Of course, Rodolfo Riscala, their key rider, with his brilliant silver medal earlier.
Yeah.
And that was a terrific performance. And there is a man who's overcome serious adversity. And obviously was a very talented, able-bodied dressage rider before contracting meningitis. But so now he's beginning to increasingly be an effective player on the para-dressage stage. And here, though, Marcos starts now. Scored 64.382 on Tuesday, coming 6th in the individual.
I love this horse. I think it's so attractive. It really catches the eye when it comes into the arena. It's really uphill. Just for the higher marks, you just want to see it a little bit more consistent in the frame. But a nice start to the test. Let's see how he can do in the leg yield.
He's got a friend in the corner, bedecked in a Brazilian flag. You see, look, you noticed?
I know.
Lovely.
Yep, friendly horse.
With a quartet of support staff.
How are we doing score-wise?
6.7s, 65% overall at the moment. So, in keeping with what he did on Tuesday.
Really nice clear walk.
No blips.
Nope, no blips. And this is what I said earlier about the pole being at the highest point. And the horse really using its hindquarters. And yeah, this horse does. It just needs to be a little bit more through for the higher marks. He's doing a good job.
Everything's around about 6.5, 6.6 at the moment. Now coming to the halt.
Just leaving a right hind out.
Got 6.9 for that halt, though, which I think is his best mark so far.
Nice leg yield steps. Back into trot, keeping the frame nicely. And it's serpentine time. Oh no, circle time. What am I like?
Give you the bell now. The bell of doom.
Again there, that's just where it's just lacking a little bit of impulsion. And the impulsion is the forwardness.
I can't remember which Italian rider it was, but she had the bell at the first turn. Instead of turning left, she turned right, coming down off the centre line.
Oh, that's a real pity.
Yeah. So, keeping it all fairly consistent.
Yeah, just want to see it stretch down and out more. It's stretching, but just coming back behind the bit a little bit. can see him just there snatching. Again, it's quite difficult for some of the riders to pick up their reins afterwards. So some riders choose to lean forwards with the horse to lengthen the rein as well. But again, for some other riders, they can't lean forward. So it's difficult to work out what's best for each individual horse and rider combination.
So coming through, just working hard.
Just hollowing across the diagonal there in the medium. Just losing that throughness. Oh, just a little stumble into the walk transition.
It just shows at times, sometimes the element of communication between rider and horse is quite, well, it shows how difficult it can be when you've got to try and make sure you can time it to perfection.
Absolutely. And some riders, you know, can have spasms or they have involuntary movement, and that can be giving unwanted signals to the horse that then can confuse it completely. Coming up to his final halt.
Here he goes.
And it's a square one by the looks of things.
It is. Well done to Marcos Fernandez Alves, to give him his full title, but he's done it and he is happy, and I think he's going to be around about 65, maybe just a bit over, on slightly better than his test the other day, and that's all you can hope for, and that's a nice score. That concludes the morning's action in the Tryon Stadium, and a good effort as he just exits the arena. There is Michelle George waiting to greet him on his way out. I think she'll be very pleased with what he did there. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Absolutely, no, it was a nice consistent test. I think just for the higher marks, that looks a really nice picture there, and if he could keep that frame the whole way through the test, he would be just getting half or one whole mark higher in each movement, and that can make a real difference.
Well, Michelle looks pleased with her protege, and he's got a smile. We wait for his score, and it's coming through now, and it's 65.636.
Very close there, isn't it?
Well, looking at the
4 on 65.
4 on 65, but the best score in this particular grade, grade 2, was Stina Kastrup with a 74.848. And looking at the team standings, with many teams having 2, but obviously there is a discard score, so only one is counting at the moment. And there you have it with the individual result of this competition, with Stina Kastrup and Nicole Dendulk and Lee Pearson, the 1, 2, 3. And obviously those 3 countries that those riders represent, all having serious aspirations of getting a medal of one description or another. And with regard to the team standings, that with the fact that earlier today Sophie Wells produced that score of 77.233, Denmark have just had the one rider, 74.848. Both Netherlands and Germany have had 2 riders, but obviously there are discard scores. But Netherlands, Frank Hosman with the best score there of 73.488. So still all to play for. It's early days, and obviously with the Dutch with Sanne Voorts going in this afternoon. Natasha, thank you for the time being. It's lunchtime now.
It is.
But we will be back at 2 o'clock for grade 4 time. No British rider in the grade 4, but still a significant afternoon sport expected. So do join us from 2 o'clock local time here in Carolina at the Tryon Stadium for the 3rd grade in the team competition.
New Holland is a global leader in agricultural and construction equipment and is
proud to be the official track.